Alright guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio, hour number 2 on this 29th day of May, Wednesday. I'm excited, I'm excited for our lineup tonight. Both of these guys have been regulars on the program, and let's play the intro music again. Brett, I'm back. Hey Brett, you know what? Even married and all exhausted from your honeymoon, brother, you got it, because I had the mic off, and I'm sitting here doing my hour number 2 intro, and all of a sudden the music starts going again. Good job, Brett. Way to cover any dead air we might have. Welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. My name is Charlie McGrath. It is the 29th day of May, Wednesday, as we continue on this program. And what I was saying with no mic on is that I'm really happy with this lineup tonight, and good job, Karen, because we've had two of my favorites. We've had one of my favorites. We're about to have another one of my favorites. Regular guest of the program, Dinah Everett Snyder, is going to be joining us here in just a second. Those of you listening that listened through the break, the long break where we switched from hour 1 to 2, I mean, you heard the drone strike. You heard the propagandists come out and talk about the blow against terrorism, the blow against whatever enemy we're supposed to be terrified of today. And, again, this is on the heels of Memorial Day. This is on the heels of McCain showing up in Syria to back al-Nusra and back a terrorist organization. In my opinion, anyway, it's a complete and utter backing of a terrorist organization. And you heard Bob Fletcher in hour number 1. We are on the march to absolute, total, complete, utter, no question about it, tyrannical influences dominating our political scene and our financial scene, our economic scene. And it is more important now than ever to live. This is what I talked about in the intro in hour number 1. Live free. Question everything. Spread the truth. We need 10 million people to be awake in this country, and we need 10 million people who are not afraid to stand up for themselves. We're not there. We're not there. I know we talk about the number of people waking up, and it is true. More and more are, by virtue of the fact that they're living in this tyrannical police state. They have to wake up. There's a certain percentage of people that have to trip over the truth and become awake, but it's not enough. It's not enough, and things are moving way too fast. Things are getting out of control more and more every single day. One of the reasons I'm switching the formats is to do just that, to try to reach the people that are not the choir, to try to reach the people who are on the fence, the people that are touching mainstream and touching reality. These are the folks I want to reach. These are the folks I want to drag in kicking and screaming if need be to the crisis of reality that is unfolding. One quick mention. Again, I'm going to talk about this every night, guys, and everybody who has supported our fund drive for the folks in Oklahoma, thank you very much. I appreciate your effort, I appreciate your concern, and I appreciate your generosity. Not one single dime has been issued yet. We have all this money, we have the commitment to time and material that is waiting to be distributed, and it will be, and when it is, it'll be 100% transparent, crystal clear to everybody who did what. And again, no names will be mentioned, just amounts and initials. I received an email tonight that I wanted to share with you guys real quick before we bring Dinah on. Dinah, thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. It was from somebody in Moore, Oklahoma. And let me share this with you real quick here. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second here. I'm not quite as prepared as I thought I was going to be. It was an individual who was asking for help for his family. Thanks for the interest. This was in a series of emails. Family of 5 that are located in the same neighborhood as the Plaza Tower School that was leveled. They are legit and just need a few donations to make it until additional relief comes in via insurance and other means. I'm a frequent listener, subscriber, and thought this would be one way listeners could get involved. They are a legit freedom-loving couple from my home state, and blank is my cousin. I have, and then he goes on about his cousin a little bit, but Scott and Sherry Cushman live in Moore, Oklahoma, along with their young family. They have 2 children, Charity and Trustin, and are currently fostering a toddler. Scott is a youth minister at a local Free Will Baptist church, and a part-time school teacher at a local Christian school. Sherry is a full-time American Sign Language interpreter. On May 20th, an F5, F4, 4/5 tornado roared through Moore, Oklahoma. The Cushman family lived in the Plaza Tower neighborhood. Most have become familiar with the neighborhood due to the elementary school down and from the street from them, where many children lost their lives. On the afternoon of May 20th, Scott, Charity, Trustin were home. Sherry had just left for work. After having lunch at home with her family, shortly after she left for work, the siren sounded. Scott and the children took shelter in the most interior room of the house, a tiny linen closet. While in the closet, Scott kept the children calm by praying. Before losing phone reception, he encouraged Sherry not to try to make it back home. She remained she remained at work listening to the terror in the news reports. She was unable to contact Scott during and after the storm. Some family, including myself, were able to reach, and he assured us the family was fine, but the house had major damage. Major damage was a major understatement. The only other part of the house structurally intact after the tornado was a linen closet he and the children took shelter in. Wow, that's kind of miraculous. Houses on either side of them were absolutely devastated. The page was set up by me, blank blank, Scott's older brother, in an effort to allow friends and family to help Scott and Sherry recover, and it goes on. The reason I'm reading this to you is because this is one of scores and scores and scores of emails that I've received of similar type stories, and I just want to keep continuing the push. If you have money and you want to donate it, great. If you don't and you want to donate time, we have a web designer on board who's going to help affected businesses with their website work, and he's donating 20 hours a week. Dang near, he's pushing what the Labor Department considers almost a full-time job at this point for free to get businesses back on their feet who were devastated. We have people offering shelter in neighboring states and states as far away as New York. We have people that have blankets, clothes, food, water, you name it, that are willing to step up. If you have any way to support, and I don't care if it's just a letter of encouragement that we can forward to somebody like this Cushman family, if you have some way to help, please contact us at info@wideawakenews.com, tag it Oklahoma Relief, or go to wideawakenews.com and click on the red banner and do what you can do to help. I'm not, like I said, I don't care if it's money or a letter of encouragement. If you can help, if you have the means, please do so. Dinah, Everett, Snyder, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Once again, hour number 2, I've managed to burn up the first segment with other matters rather than my guests, so I apologize and I thank you for your patience.
Hi, Charlie.
Hello, croque the biscuit. I still remember that line. It's one of my favorites. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been busy. I was listening to you earlier. Things just seem to be happening more and more rapidly in more and more different sectors of our communities, in more countries. It's everything. It really feels as though we are under attack on every front.
You got that right. You definitely have that right, Dinah. We are. I mean, I feel the exact same way. When Memorial Day rolls by and the news that's not covered is the fact that we're fomenting more war, and this is just considered to be another Monday, right?
Right.
And this is something that we see almost every single day now, a piece of legislation or some kind of policy that is leading us more towards this totalitarian, complete and utter police state. GMO is one of them, and I barely talked about that, and I know that's one thing that you're going to talk about a little bit tonight. I covered Saturday. I went out and covered our local GMO rally. It was very interesting to me, and it was really nice to go out and in the field, as it were, and interview some folks. But you wanted to get into that topic a little bit tonight, right?
I did. And again, yes, it was interesting to have Memorial Weekend, and there really wasn't much in the papers. There wasn't much in the media.
Hold on one sec. Hold on one sec for me. We're going to take our first forced break, and when we come back, I'll kick it right to you, and I want to talk about that. The lack of coverage. 52 countries, 430 plus cities took part in this. Millions of people. where was the news? It was independent media. That was it. We're going to be back with Dinah, Everett, Snyder, and more Wide Awake News Radio in just a minute. Please hang tight. Welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath, joined by Dinah, Everett, Snyder on this 29th day of May, month almost over. A quick reminder, we started a new schedule June 1st. If you didn't hear it, I've only said it about 1 billion times. I'll say it again tomorrow night or at the end of the program. Dinah, you talked a little bit about followers, and I'm kind of conflicted on this a little bit, and here's why. I guess if they're in the streets because that's where the pretty girls are, I'm hoping by the fact that they're there and hearing information that they're led to the proverbial light. I agree with you. There's a lot of people who are too easily swayed and fall into that follower category. But isn't that? I mean, isn't that necessary? I mean, isn't that the same people that were duped into believing in Agenda 21 or supporting that or supporting a air quote democracy versus a republic? Those same people have to be convinced, and the numbers need to bear out as far as a show of will in a mass populace that we're not here to take this anymore. We need followers. We need mass numbers of people to be waking up. And if they're doing it strictly because they don't like GMO or they don't like Monsanto or they don't like Raytheon or they don't like Wells Fargo or whatever the case is, then is that is that not okay? We need dogs freaking out on the air. That's what we need.
Charlie, I think I need to clarify a little more.
Okay.
The March Against Monsanto is a people's movement. It was loosely organized. The idea was put forth on Facebook. People were encouraged to take it and run with it. People were encouraged to become organizers in their areas, and social media being what it is, people took it and ran. What happened as we got into the week before the March Against Monsanto, and certainly the day of, you saw these in some areas. Certainly the vast majority of areas, the aesthetic was pure, the emotion was pure. The march was simply what it was, with all these people coming together to march against Monsanto for all the right reasons. And I think the majority of people that were marching collectively in a march against Monsanto. What happened is that in the more political areas, so there were multiple marches. So San Francisco, certainly Los Angeles. I'm not going to have too many nice things to say about the various marches down in LA County and its surrounding areas, because it's been brought to the attention of a lot of people. I don't want to say me, because really, who am I? But I have noted this, that it was the March Against Monsanto was overtaken by people with political agendas.
Yeah.
Certainly the one in Santa Rosa was overtaken by the Occupy movement. So a march that had a very set path from point A to point B got hijacked, and instead of going from point A to point B, it went to City Plaza and then petered out there instead of continuing on it towards its final destination. And there were all these banners, Occupy, then Wall Street, we are the 99%. I mean, I even took pictures of them because I was thinking, what on earth is this? We are marching against Monsanto. If I want to be part of the Occupy movement, then say so. And if I want to pitch up, I'll pitch. But this was supposed to be strictly a march against Monsanto. What happened in LA was several people who are looking at political campaigns or are very involved with the Occupy movement came in and kind of took this over. And that in itself is not a bad thing. We want to get this out there. We want to get people marching. But for many people that participated in the march, it left a very bad taste in their mouth. And I will speak of the Santa Rosa one because I was there. So everyone congregated in the plaza. There were all these booths. The special interest groups had their little booths and their pamphlets and so on. It's a busy, busy cross-section. There's 8 different stoplights. And there was a microphone and people started talking.
Yeah.
And really, it was all these women promoting their own very local, non-relevant to the March Against Monsanto things. And the veterans and I looked at each other and we were like, hey, there's all this traffic going by. People are rubbernecking. What on earth are all these people doing in the middle of the plaza on a Saturday afternoon?
Yeah.
So we decided to take our banners and our kids and, go out and engage the public, which we did. So there was about 40 of us that were walking around downtown Santa Rosa with our banners. At that point, there was no media, no anybody, and everyone that we engaged was very interested. We handed out pamphlets, we talked to people, and it was great. But essentially, the thing that I want to leave with you and with the listeners is that the March Against Monsanto is a people's movement. There are many people's movements. It is not necessary to wait for a leadership to emerge to tell you what to do, because you are exchanging one master for another. A perfect example of continuing the momentum of the March Against Monsanto is this. Pick a day. The March Against Monsanto was the 25th of the month. If you want to do this every 25th of the month, that would be fantastic. Everyone can do this on their own. You don't need anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Go to your local big box grocery store. Take your shopping cart. Go down the aisles. Put all the things in the shopping cart that have GMO products in them, that have high fructose corn syrup and all sorts of other non-labeled things. Take your shopping cart to the checkout stand and take with you a pre-printed piece of paper that you've printed at home that says, label our food, or any slogan that you want to come up with on your own that will indicate to the management that you are not happy with the products in the shopping cart. Don't buy the items, leave them in the shopping cart with your card and walk out. If enough people were doing this, grocery stores would have to take notes. They have to pay someone to put these things back on the shelf. They have to log and itemize these things. People need to start, if you're upset about GMOs, you're upset about the fact that goldfish is being sold in the stores and it's not labeled, and you've looked at the things online about what's really going on with Gulf seafood, do something about it. Don't mumble and raise your blood pressure. Get active on your own. We need people who can think for themselves.
No doubt about it. I love that notion, that idea of filling up your cart, taking it to the checkout, and then dropping your info flyer there, and then walking away. Yeah, can you imagine?
Charlie, I've done this. I've gone and I've put things in the shopping cart.
That's awesome.
That I find offensive. And I've gone to the manager and I said, I would like you to fill out complaint cards for all of these things. And they'll say to you, well, you haven't bought them yet. So you have to be willing to actually purchase the items and then turn around and return them, because then they have to fill in a complaint form. And there's a place for your name and your phone number and the reason that you're returning them. And in there you can write, this contains high fructose corn syrup. This contains genetically modified soy. This contains genetically modified sugar beets. I want labels on these things. I want clear and concise labels. Why do you carry this? Why does the store brand have these products in the store? You have to be willing to do the work if you want others to do the work to make the change.
Yeah, I know. Listen,
it can happen.
I think your idea is brilliant. I really do, and I commend you for doing that, for pulling that off. I guess where I'm a little bit argumentative, I guess, with that, and it's hard to argue with you because you sound so darn cute with the accent and going. But I'm going to try anyway. The Occupy taking it over. You know what? Let me pick it up there when we get back. We're going to do our final segment of the program, and I want to talk, Dinah. I definitely do want to talk about the co-opting of movements, because it's something I've covered extensively, and it is very, very prevalent, and it is very, very relevant. But is it avoidable? I mean, is it something that we have to learn to incorporate into an activist strategy? We're going to be back with Dinah, Everett, Snyder, and more Wide Awake News Radio in just a minute. Please hang tight. Wide Awake News Radio, Charlie McGrath, joined by the one and only Dinah, Everett, Snyder. Dinah, we ended the first segment with lack of coverage of an event that if it was a politically inspired, if a left-right politically inspired movement, oh my goodness, it would have been nonstop news cycle for a full 24 hours. But as it was, the event I was at, which had, I'm in a town of 50,000 people, if we're lucky, and we had probably 300 people show up. The establishment media did show up. Let me give them their due here. They showed up, and if I'm not mistaken, I stood there for almost 3 hours listening to speakers and conducting interviews. If I'm not mistaken, they were there for almost 15 minutes. Came in, rolled in, got some sound, didn't interview anybody, got some footage, and boom, they were gone. I was shocked at this event that happened not just here in Bozeman, but globally, and nothing. I mean, you had to dig through establishment media to find anything on it.
Right. Well, of course, I attended a rally, and I took with me 16 veterans and their families. We went to the rally in Santa Rosa, Sonoma County, outside of San Francisco. And there were probably, at the high point, there were close to 2,000 people. Nice. There was a very nice turnout. Overall, I think the crowd stayed at around 1,500. A lot of people left after the actual march, and I didn't see any media. The curious thing is that we had actually contacted the Press Democrat and told them, asked them, notified them that the march was taking place and that we were locals and we expected this event to be covered. But I have spoken to participants in the march against Monsanto from 3 different continents.
Yeah.
I spoke to people that took part in Switzerland and Germany, in England, in South Africa, and I spoke to people that took part in March Against Monsanto rallies across the United States. Mm-hmm. And there's a disturbing trend that's emerged, and I haven't really spoken about it before. I had a meeting concerning it this week, but we can get into that. But the trend that is emerging from this is that there are specific special interest groups that are taking over this movement, this people's movement against Monsanto.
Wait a minute. Can you say, Dinah?
Yes.
Can you say movement for me one more time? Because that was very intriguing. Go ahead, continue. Special interest domination.
It's a people's movement.
Yeah.
And earlier in the show, while I was waiting on you, you said that you've changed the format of the program because you would like to reach those people that are not part of the inner group, those people that are sitting on the fence.
Yes.
And there's something that I want to add to that, and that is that we want to reach the people that are on the fence, and we want to be able to tell all people, stop following everybody else. Even those people that want to label GMOs, even those people that participated in the March Against Monsanto, people that want to be led invariably are going to end up being led by the nose. If this is people's movement, and you feel strongly about labeling GMOs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the flip side to that. There were many people at the rallies that were not completely convinced that all GMOs are bad. The tipping point for them was in the last weeks where our government has passed the Monsanto Protection Act, where Monsanto has lobbied to become a federally protected private, corporate, for-profit, multinational, global corporation protected by the U.S. federal government against a vote by the people. Meaning, Monsanto is moving very strongly towards disallowing individual states to pass laws mandating the labeling of food. And for many who are on the fence regarding GMOs, that became a constitutional matter, and that's what got a fair percentage of people out on the street marching against Monsanto. Because you'll notice this wasn't a march particularly to label our food or any such thing. It was a march against Monsanto and everything that it stands for. Of course, there are other companies just like Monsanto, Dow Chemicals, DuPont, Syngenta, Myriad Genetics has its place in that list. But Monsanto is the really big one, and Monsanto, to the majority of people, represents all the ills and all the issues that we have with all these corporate, for-profit entities lobbying our government for special protection.
No doubt about it. And in fact, when I did my interviews, I specifically didn't mention or call out, that this was a rally against Monsanto. It was more GMO than just Monsanto. And we'll pick it up there with Dinah, Everett, Snyder. We'll be right back with more Wide Awake News Radio. Please hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Final segment with Dinah, Everett, Snyder on this 29th day of May, Wednesday. Dinah, I want to jump right into it because this is a shorter segment and we will definitely burn through it really quickly. Co-opting of movements, be it GMO, anti-Monsanto, Patriot movement, Tea Party movement, Occupy movement, inevitable. Everybody knows who's listening to this program for any amount of time. I marched with the Tea Party movement under when George W. Bush was president. I've interviewed countless people in the Occupy movement, and both of these have been, which I believe both of them were organic in nature, just like the movement against GMO/Monsanto. And it's inevitable, isn't it, that just like the Tea Party adopted, courted, and now beat down beat down by the far right wing of the Republican Party, and just like the Occupy movement has been courted and co-opted in a lot of respects by the far left wing of the Democrat Party. This is a classic tactical maneuver where you're going to divide and conquer, and now you have your two battering rams in each side of the perceived left-right paradigm to go ahead and beat each other senseless while the real crimes continue. So yes, I agree that there's going to be a co-opting of, I don't care what, independent media, GMO, whatever, you fill in the blank.
Of course,
yeah.
Absolutely, because, and you see it particularly in the U.S., you don't see it as much or as pronounced in other countries. But you have to understand the American mindset and the way in which Americans have been raised and the business model in America and what they're bombarded with on a daily basis. It's a dog-eat-dog, cutthroat lifestyle where everyone is out to get everybody else. Everyone will shaft you for a penny. I mean, gone is the dollar, right?
Yeah.
You'll get shafted for a penny. And you see this, of course, everywhere. So you look at the politics of scarcity and the diminishing returns from improved efficiency, and you have to reconcile the two. We have been so bombarded in this country with divide and conquer strategy.
No doubt.
That it is ingrained in our psyche. I wasn't even born here. I didn't go to school here. I came here as an adult, and I've raised my children here. And so perhaps it's a little easier for me to stand back and see it. But then again, I know many other people who see it very clearly too. There's a hyper co-opting of ideals and movements and ideologies. And at some point, Charlie, I think it's a cop-out for a lot of people. And it goes back to what I said.
Dinah, what's the cop-out? That it's been co-opted, or what do you mean?
When people start complaining about it. So these people that I talked to that were down in LA, and they're complaining that they didn't get to speak because speakers came forth that had nothing to do with the march against Monsanto, and they were selling their own cause in Santa Rosa, selling the Occupy movement at a GMO march against Monsanto rally. And so there's this pervasive sense from people of frustration and sort of headless chicken. Oh my God, well, what do we do now? The march against Monsanto is over, and now what? So this is why I've been telling people, well, I've been doing this, filling shopping carts and being willing to buy the product and then return them at the check stand next door in order to force them to have to fill out customer complaint forms. You don't need someone else to create an event. People are always going to, particularly in this country, hijack and co-opt their own special interests, their own political agenda, their own speakeasy.
Yeah.
We need to step off of this herd gravy boat, because it's not a gravy boat. Going back to what I said earlier, if you are looking to be led, inevitably you're going to be led by the nose.
No.
You're exchanging one master for another, and it's it's not just your everyday. I hate this word, but Joe Sixpack. It's not your everyday moms and dads and grandparents that are guilty of this. It's everybody. I had a meeting this week with professors of economics at big universities, with surgeons from big universities. We had a roundtable think tank conversation about several very pressing issues going on right now concerning the patenting of gene therapies, concerning the patenting of our foods, and the coming Supreme Court ruling that's going to happen this summer regarding all these different issues.
Right.
And it was a day-long event, and these are important people that run departments at big universities that also sit on the boards of various think tanks around the Bay Area and in Seattle and New York. And what I noticed, even there, you have 64 people, and they're all kind of looking at one another, going, "Well, I don't know. So what do you want to do?" And then the next guy is like, "Well, I don't know. What do you want to do?" It's like you've seen the Disney movie Lion King, where they're all looking around, going, "I don't know. What do you want to do?"
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly that deer in the headlight. What's next thing.
Right, where everyone's looking to be led. It's like the patient who's having a recurrence of cancer, who already went through the whole mainstream medicine paradigm of chemo and radiation and slice and dice, and now they have a recurrence, and they come and they say, "Well, I really don't want to go through all that again. It clearly didn't do me well the first time. I want something different. I want to go more holistic. Can you give me a protocol?" Hello? We have computers and search engines now, and yes, you can go to a holistic doctor, but you should probably do some of your own research. Probably educate yourself a little. Gone are the times.
You know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing a frustrated Dinah Everett Snyder tonight, and this is not what I'm used to. What's that?
It's very frustrating because I deal with it day in and day out, and I don't deal with it just in one area.
No, listen.
All areas.
I get it. I do get it, and I understand the frustration. I see it. I see the follow the leader game in independent media like you wouldn't believe, and it is frustrating. It is frustrating when you see the co-opting is what grabs hold of me and just it baffles me that people will fall for the rhetoric of the party line and try to see the inclusion of a platform, of a Democratic or Republican platform, into their movement, and they'll be convinced that it's something that will work inside that movement. But in reality, all these organic movements of anti-government, anti-destruction of freedom movements have no business with any sort of nexus between Democrat, Republican, or any other agenda that mirrors Democrat or Republican or liberal or conservative. It is what I open hour number one with, which in a nutshell is you need to live your life free. You need to live free. And that is free of being a sheep in any form. Not even even a sheep in the truth movement or in this independent movement is still a sheep. You can't follow blindly what Dinah Everett Snyder says or what I say, right?
Exactly. You're just trading one master for another. Freedom has a price, and that is to succeed or fail. Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree with that. My caveat, I guess, if you will, is I'm okay with people having the understanding level that they have at that point in their life. I'm okay with the people that are kind of waking up and still believe that Ron Paul and Rand Paul and the libertarian establishment is the establishment libertarian community has their best interest at heart. I guess mainly, like I said, I felt your frustration, but I know that everybody is brought into truth in their own way, and be it a shocking moment of reality, or be it a slow drip of reality, and maybe they make mistakes on the way, maybe they get co-opted along the way, maybe they go a little bit left or a little bit right, but to see anybody that on a Saturday, even if it's Occupy dominating something that isn't theirs to begin with, just the fact that we're talking about people taking a Saturday on the long weekend and showing up, I know the frustration, but it's encouraging to me, even if this co-opting occurs, which I've just resigned myself to believe, because it's the truth, is inevitable.
You're absolutely right. And, I just want to say that this hijacking of movements and hijacking of thought processes can be seen throughout all the different issues that we talk about and that we face all the time.
True.
The cancer paradigm, the autism paradigm, military veterans and their issues paradigm.
Yes.
All of these issues have potentially been hijacked in that you have people saying, this is the issue and this is the only issue, and now we're going to problem solve.
Yes.
Give me a break. The women's movement was the same way.
Here's the problem. Here's the solution. Please send me some money.
Exactly.
That's how. Dinah Everett Snyder. We're going to run out of time here real quick. DinahEverettSnyder.org is one website. Do you have any more we want to give out?
I'd love if people friend me on Facebook. We've got several groups going, a GMO one, an autism one, a cancer one.
Dinah Everett Snyder on Facebook.
Coming out at the end of the month.
Dinah Everett Snyder on Facebook. Is that it? How am I finding you there?
Yes, Dinah Everett Snyder on Facebook. I'm the only one.
She is the crux of the biscuit, and it's awesome to have you back on before we change format. Dinah, absolutely, I'm going to get you back on. We didn't even touch on it, but your outstanding work with veterans is what made me fall in love with you, and I'm sorry we didn't get to talk about that at all, but next time I get you on, I want an update on the program. So on how that's going and if you're expanding it. Dinah Everett Snyder, everybody. DinahEverettSnyder.org. Go to Facebook, find her there, and friend her there as well. Please stay tuned for Jeff Ritz because he is coming up next. Everybody have a good night. Peace.